So I've been playing just a little bit of Grand Theft Auto Vice City recently. And in this visit to Vice City, I happen to notice a lot of NPCs seem to pretty often just kill each other randomly while you're just driving down the street. And after I stumbled upon one of these random encounters, the Any Austin part of my brain thought, I wonder what Vice City's murder rate would end up being if we sat down and tried to figure it out. So after a quick Google search on what a murder rate truly is, we learned that it is the number of homicides occurring in a specific area over a defined period, typically over a year and measured per 100,000 people. So to get a homicide or murder rate, you divide the number of murders in a year by the total population if you're looking to get the murder rate for a specific city. That means I've set myself up with quite the task because I'm gonna have to find out both of those numbers for a city that doesn't actually exist. We'll start with hopefully the easy one here with figuring out Vice City's population size. Grand Theft Auto Vice City takes place in a fictional version of 1986 Miami, Florida. My original thought for getting a somewhat accurate population size would be to make the comparison with Miami's population from around the same period. With a quick search, I found that Miami had a population of 359,790 people in 1990. And this was going to be the number I plugged into our murder rate formula. But then, by complete accident, as I was watching a random video on random facts about Grand Theft Auto Vice City, I learned that the physical copy of the game came with a Vice City brochure pamphlet that contained none other than a legitimate population size for Vice City that we can use for our formula. And I just happen to have a physical copy of the game, so let's take a look at what it says. Here's the tourist guide. Let's take a look. Population and people. Population of Vice City is approximately 1.8 million inhabitants. There we have it, according to the board certified Vice City tourist guide. It's really cool that games used to include special tidbits like this. They don't really have manuals or guides with special information anymore. And what's great is that it gives us an official count, 1.8 million people in Vice City. It kind of struck me as odd that this number ended up being so much higher than real life Miami. I was initially a little curious why Rockstar didn't model this number after something more realistic for the city they were trying to invoke. But I have a theory about that we'll get to later. Because now we get to move on to the hard part. How in the world we're gonna figure out how many total murders happen in a year in Vice City. Unfortunately, no handy brochure is going to help us figure this variable out, and without any solid data, we're gonna have to make some approximations. I decided that the best way to go about getting some kind of estimate on the total number of murders Vice City sees in a year would be to drive around the entire city and tally up how many incidents I saw in a 24-hour period. I'll then do this 5 total times, then use the average of these findings as a daily murder count. We'll then multiply this number by 365 to give us a yearly total. And listen, I get how this system isn't perfect, as there theoretically could be deaths all over the city that I wouldn't be able to see or count, but I mean, whatever. This is a video game. What more do you want from me? So here's how day 1 went. So I forgot to record the first 2 minutes of day 1, where it was so uneventful, I started to doubt if this whole concept was even going to be worthwhile. That's until I stumbled upon this gang shootout near the mall. And we'll see these types of altercations happen often throughout Vice City, particularly early in the game's main story. For me and this experiment, well, our shootouts were almost exclusive to this mall area. Oh my god, a second fight is happening over there. Okay, rather than sit through all this, just know I left this area with 10 recorded homicides. So let's keep going.
Watch out, watch out, watch out, watch out!
That was the last murder of day 1, giving us a total of 14 murders for the first day. Each of the 5 days, I took a slightly different route around the city or changed the direction I went in, but they all kind of looked like this day 1, where I stopped and recorded any homicide or death that I came across as I went around the city.
This is so bad.
Some maniac keeps stealing ambulances.
Got a problem with Star 2000. Back on question. Nothing too serious. Get out, please. Don't hit me.
Yo, move in, you block
Why
the
ain't you
street.
moving?
This was a weird encounter. I was trying not to get shot at by these guys while they kicked this cop to death. Then this dude in pink almost dies. He didn't though. That's the end of day 2, coming in at 5 recorded murders. Moving on to day 3. Day 3 wrapped up with 9 recorded murders, moving into day 4. So I do not remember why at the beginning of day 4, there's just a dude dead here on the sidewalk, but we're gonna go ahead and count him anyways. By the way, that person there does survive. They did not count in the murder total. They get back up, as you'll see here in a second. Right there. Yep, they're up.
You driving
That was the end of day 4, coming in at 13 murders. Now on to the final day 5 of this experiment.
These kids nowadays, I watch them.
One thing I really noticed by the time I got to day 5 was that rain significantly lowered the number of NPCs you saw out in the streets. Obviously, as you can see here, there's still some, but a lot less than when it wasn't raining. Just kind of a neat little touch, because in a tourist city like Miami, people would not be out and about as much when it's raining. It's just kind of a neat little detail I noticed being out so often in the city. Didn't see what happened here, but we're gonna roll with it. That is the end of day 5, where we ended up with a total of 10 murders. So, with all of this data, we're going to add up the total number of murders between all of the days and divide it by 5 to get a daily average. The total number of murders between all of the days is 51. Divide that by 5 days, and we get an average of 10 murders a day in Vice City. We multiply that number by 365 days in a year, and that gives us 3,650 total murders taking place in a year. With that, we now have both the numbers we need to calculate a murder rate per 100,000 people. So plugging these numbers into our formula from the beginning of the video, we take the 3,650 total murders and divide that by the total population of 1.8 million people, take that ensuing decimal and multiply it by 100,000 to get a murder rate of 202.7, or rounded up to 203 deaths or murders per 100,000 people. But what exactly does that mean? For comparison, in 2023, Memphis led the US with the highest homicide rate, coming in at 63.9 murders per 100,000 people, significantly lower than what we've found in Vice City. That tells us pretty clearly that you could live anywhere in the current United States and have a good reason to feel safer than you would in 1980s Vice City. And I don't know, I do feel that making these silly comparisons between entertainment and the real world can actually be kind of useful. I might be a little crazy, but I think that today, with our sensationalized media outlets, there's potential for people to think that scenes like this play out across the United States, like they do here in Vice City. But they don't. Real cities don't look like this, and we can prove that with the data we just collected. To take it a step further, imagine if we placed Miami's actual population in place of the Vice City one. We would get a dramatically higher murder rate. Vice City and its depiction of casual violence is just satire. I kind of like to think these random encounters happen across the city to bring the events of the story into perspective. I mean, when you get to play out a scenario where Tommy chases a man onto the street and tears him apart with a chainsaw, and then just walks away like he wasn't right next to the most popular nightclub in town, then these shootouts can feel quote unquote pretty normal. So yeah, in conclusion, we learned that Vice City has a roughly estimated murder rate of 203 murders per 100,000 people, and it is ridiculously unsafe. I hope you found this information to be useful in some kind of way. If you did, maybe consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Or maybe just check out the video on screen now. That'd be cool too. Thanks for watching.
There's no use in walking. Can't carry my weight. And if I'm feeling lately, I think I'll put away.